So we'll get this thing started. Again, thank you very much for joining us on this special and a unique webinar called Destination Andhra Pradesh. As you would all be aware, the state of Andhra Pradesh was recently ranked as the #1 state in the ease of doing business ranking. Now, again, this is of significant paramount importance, and why I say this is that this year's ranking was not based on people who were sitting in Delhi. This ranking was gotten by user feedback or from actual users who are from the state, who gave their feedback and said that yes, we are happy with certain things that the government is doing. So the ranking this year was given 100% weightage to user feedback and not just in terms of government officials deciding this. So we thought that this is the most apt reason for us to come and do a webinar, highlight this unique opportunity as well as the achievement that the state has got. And my sincere thanks to Goutham Reddy ji, who was extremely supportive of this webinar of us, and he gave us a go-ahead, and he's totally backed us. He'll be joining us in about 20 minutes from now. He's just getting out of a meeting, and as soon as he comes out of that, he'll be joining in the webinar. My sincere thanks to Sri City, without whom this could not be possible. Ravindra Sana Reddy ji, who's been extremely supportive again. When I took this proposition to him, he was extremely supportive, and he said, "Aditya, what can I do for you?" And he gave us the backing, and then we could bring this session to you. So just a quick round of introductions to our esteemed panelists that we have. One of the doyens, if I could say, of the shipping and ports and shipping industry, Mr. Krishna Bhai Kotak, who normally is very, very reclusive, doesn't go out to many webinars, many sessions and all that. We've been extremely delighted to have you, sir. Thank you so much, Krishna Bhai Kotak, for joining us here. We have the Chairman and Managing Director of Hindustan Shipyard Limited. Again, a true success stories, and I think what a story to learn from. I think we'll get into that, as we get into the course. So, Mr. Hemant Khatri ji, who's just joined as the Chairman and Managing Director, he's joining us from Brandix, one of the biggest foreign investors into our country and into the state of Andhra Pradesh. We have Mr. Hasita Premaratne, who's joining us live from Colombo. Mr. Hasita, thank you so much for joining us here. And we have another very important foreign investor, Mr. Yamaguchi Masahiro. He is part of the company called Tori Industries. This is an $18 billion conglomerate and spans humongous amount of services and all that. They've just recently started the services in no other better place than Sri City. I think the best address that they could have. So welcome, Mr. Yamaguchi ji. Thank you for joining us today. So we'll get started in terms of questions that I just had, where the state of Andhra Pradesh could really capitalize and I think take us forward. So I'll come to you, Krishna Bhai Kotak ji. In terms of the maritime sector, right? Maritime sector has been one of our pillars of growth even during the COVID time, right? It has been a gateway wherein goods and services were coming into the state, not into the state, actually all across India, thanks to the port and shipping sector. So if you could just briefly tell us about what the opportunity that the state of Andhra Pradesh, having second largest coastline, and how could we capitalize in terms of taking it forward? If you could please give some of your views there.
Okay, first of all, wonderful being here. Yes, it is true. It's not many public areas that I, am able to communicate and speak. But Aditya Bhai, as you know, your organization and your father has such a hold on Visakhapatnam, and all of us, residents and participants in Visakhapatnam, that it is impossible to say no to your family. So first of all, thank you very much for having me over. Number two, this is such a distinguished panel where it is my privilege to be a part of. I was just telling our friends from Brandix that, when India and Visakhapatnam and Andhra Pradesh was just getting and taking its first steps into industrialization, it was so exciting for us to see Brandix company, and it is not known is what a global export powerhouse Brandix is. And therefore it's a privilege to be on the same panel. Hindustan Shipyard, I don't need to say much. there is one thing that I must share with you, and this has something to do with Mr. Yamaguchi. I don't have the privilege of knowing him, but uh, every time I take a trip to Japan, when you, even before you land Japan, the water which is served on the all Nippon Airways flight, if you study the label, it is by Toray Industries. That is how widespread Toray Industries are in the lives of people. You are asking a question about the maritime sector. I'm something that's a long, long time. We in Vizag can take the credit. We were actually the first container terminal which got established in Vizag, as well as on what I call the east coast of India. Uh, Calcutta Haldia was pretty far away, and today, if you were to look at our container terminal, it is providing a direct connectivity to all parts of the world, which not too many ports can even today take credit for, especially those which are our size. The second thing that has happened is, if you were to look at Sri City and Krishnapatnam's development, that has been a fantastic development where we are gearing ourselves as Andhra Pradesh to be a maritime powerful state as far as India is concerned. So, again, apart from congratulations for ease of doing business, congratulations for the state of Andhra Pradesh for building up a maritime scenario. A port is there to serve the trade. Let us never, never forget that. Therefore, what is more important for a port, because to set up a berth, to set up cranes, to get the best class productivity, Vizag Container Terminal has proven that that can be there. But what is required is connectivity. The connectivity into the port should be quick and competitive. Because what the trade wants is, at the cheapest possible cost, at the quickest possible speed, the cargo can reach the port, or from the port it can reach the factory. That's number one. The second thing that is required is, every type of cargo, whether it is raw material, semi-finished material, or finished product, it needs to go through multiple iterations. And therefore, what is tremendously important are logistics hubs and warehousing hubs. I think we in India have done a great job in terms of creating clusters. And therefore, my last request for Andhra Pradesh, in Andhra Pradesh, we have done very well. But there are now 2-3 exciting opportunities which are ahead of us. Let us not forget, Andhra Pradesh is the rice bowl of our nation. Let us not forget that Andhra Pradesh is the spice capital of our nation. What we need to now start seeing are food processing units, warehousing distribution units, as well as logistics parks. So this is an introduction. I thought I would share my thought process. Once again, a great privilege to be with all of you on this panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think you just hit the nail on the head. I totally understand that, having written on the port sector so much, I think it's the disembarkation of the cargo that is so much more talked about. And I think we are getting into the multimodal like logistics system, and I think how the process can be more streamlined so that the cargo is evacuated much more quickly and is not being held. So let me let me go to the Hindustan shipyard. What a turnaround story this has been in terms of coming back from being a loss-making unit for about 4 decades. And I know our safety staff doesn't like to take a lot of credit for it, but even though he wasn't there during that time, but he was a very important and core part of its committee that got this turnaround done, over the past 3 years. So, Hemanji, if you could just briefly talk about in terms of what the shipbuilding and the ship repair and the refit opportunity that is currently present at Hindustan Shipyard, and I think going forward, how big could this become? It's very rare that, I mean, not every state has a shipbuilding yard. We do, and this is one of the most iconic yards that we have over the past, I think, like 84 years. So if we just briefly talk about the opportunity that lies here for the maritime sector from the shipbuilding and ship repair part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aditya. And once again, I would like to thank you and all the speakers, distinguished guests, and all those who have joined us in this webinar for giving us this opportunity to connect and discuss the core important issues which are so very important. And as you said that this is the best opportunity, Kotekji also brought out that this is a place where we have the largest coastline, we have a port, we have a shipbuilding industry which is almost 8 decades old, and almost all favorable factors are here. Ease of doing business, support from the government. We have a major naval base here. We have no dearth of power, connectivity, water. I think everything is there. Now, when we talk of shipbuilding and ship repairs, I think this is one area. It encompasses almost every industry, every discipline, variety of things, whether it is mechanical, hydraulic, electrical, electronics, you name a thing that goes into making a ship that we all are aware of. And therefore, growth of shipbuilding industry is the growth of a large number of ancillary industries. For example, we ourselves have got 5,000 vendors with whom we are dealing, and we are supporting almost 54% of MSMEs with whom we have the business. And currently we have, as you rightly said, that yes, we have turned around, but miles to go because the competition has become quite tough amongst the shipbuilding yards in India. We have the private shipbuilders who have come from 2010 onwards, and the climb has become much more steeper. But as you talked of opportunity, we have in Vizag and in this 3 cities and around this area, I would like to put the opportunity into 3 particular frames. The first is, let's look at shipbuilding. It is in 2 parts. One is the defense sector, second is the maritime sector, the merchant fleet. Now, when we look at defense, we have currently 2 diving support vessels that we are constructing. We are going to build 5 fleet tankers, which are 45,000 ton ships each, and each one of them is going to have about 10 kilometer of pipeline, about 200 kilometer of cabling. This is on one ship. You just multiply it by 5. This is the kind of business that we are looking at. We are looking at vendors, subcontractors, ancillary industries who can do 12,000 tons of steel for one ship, which amounts to about 2,000 tons per month because we have to build 5 ships. Apart from that, there are many other naval orders in which we are bidding, whether it is cadet training ship or it is multi-purpose vessel, so on and so forth. So opportunity and orders are enough. It is just that we need to ramp up. We need to have the vendors who can meet the timelines, meet the quality standards, and be with us, and maybe cut down a little bit of bureaucracy and move ahead to deliver ships on time. Second, today to make profit in this industry, the bottom line is that you have to deliver product in time. Whether it is shipbuilding or it is ship repairs, there is no margins for delay. We're just going to lose because the competition is quite tough. Moving on to merchant shipping sector, as I said, yes, we have built ONGC vessels, the rigs, the SCI ships, and many other crafts, including a dredger. Now that again can be done, but so far foreign shipbuilders were economical, so orders have been going there. But with Atmanirbhar Bharat and policy changing, like recently Ministry of Surface Transport had issued a directive that all the tugs which are being used in a port have to be indigenously built. And here again, HSL has built almost all kinds of tugs over the last 20 years. Currently, we are building 4. We have delivered 6 recently, and so on and so forth. Almost all ports have got tugs built by HSL. So there again, the ancillary industries and support is very important, and we can do that. Now, this is about shipbuilding. Now, moving on to submarine repairs. This is a very unique thing which is there only in Visakhapatnam in Hindustan Shipyard. MDL is the one which is dealing with submarine, but they are largely a construction shipyard. The repairs of Russian submarines, apart from the naval yards, has so far only been done by Hindustan Shipyard Limited. And we have been doing it for last 25 years. And of course, with the help of vendors and subcontractors, and a lot of them have got reskilled, have developed the skill, have developed infrastructure and the human capital that knows how to work and repair a submarine. And we are not talking of minor repairs. We are talking of medium repairs, mid-life upgrade, modernization, normal refits, so on and so forth. You would have recently seen in the newspaper that one of our submarine has been gifted to Myanmar. And that submarine was refitted in Hindustan Shipyard Limited. As director of that project, I was in charge, and we delivered that 9 days ahead of the scheduled time. No cost overrun, no time overrun. Now that is the trend, as Aditya said. What is the change around in HSL which has happened? This is what we are talking about, the change that we means business, we means to deliver product on time, and the most important for us is our customer, our clients and our subcontractors. Now coming to submarines, there is a huge volume of orders. The Indian Navy needs about 7 of normal refits to be done. Each NR is about 27 months. There are going to be about 3 to 4 medium refit and life certification. So far they have gone to Russia. We tried for the 3rd submarine, but it went to Russia. The 4th one currently is with the government. We have put our case, and we are hopeful that government will take a decision that it is done in Visakhapatnam. And if that happens, you see the entire industry in Visakhapatnam gets a big flip. It is not just the ancillary industries. It's going to be about 1,500 crore of business for Indian industries. And with the Russians coming here, almost 40 to 15 numbers, staying in hotels, from auto rickshaw to the hotels to supporting industries, almost everything gets business. So that is what we are talking about, submarine refits, which are actually retrofitment. And the third and most important sector which connects all of us is about ship repairs. Now, I feel that we in Visakhapatnam can actually truly turn it out to be a hub of ship repair industry, because we have a port here where almost 30 ships are coming per day, in and out movement. We have more than 500 major industries which can be searched on the internet in Visakhapatnam, which are supporting the ship. We have ourselves in Hindustan Shipyard a huge dock, a covered dock, we have slipways. I think together we can take a lot of business in ship repairs if we come together, synergize and support each other. As we all know that a lot of ship repair is going to Colombo. The dock, the yard is good. Some of my friends in the panelists are from there. They know it pretty well. Some of our local industries are going to Colombo and repairing ships there. Their downtime is very less. Efficiency is fast. Space procurement logistics support is excellent. Support from the government in terms of procedures, ordering procedures are quite relaxed. So their turnaround, their volumes are huge. But I feel that we can take a leap. We can take a part of that business and do it up in this sector. That is one area which has a huge potential. And the last, before I wind up, the area which I look has got a potential is about coastal tourism. Right from the Vizag coastal length is known to all of us. Right from, we can start from Paradip, or we can look at right from Calcutta down, and it comes to Odisha coast, and then entire Vizag coast with Vizag as the main base, and down below Kakinada and right up to Chennai is an area which can be developed as coastal tourism. And Sagarmala project in any case is there for coastal navigation, and J.M. Bakshi Saab, Kodak Saab is here, and he knows the best about tourism industry. And this is one area which again we together can harness and develop. So with this, I think I would like to take a break and join you again when there are questions. But all in all, I think this is a very exciting field. There are a lot of opportunities. The time is truly ripe in Silly City, and we just need to join hands together to support and get more and more business in this part of the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hemant Khatriji. And I think I totally believe with you in that there is an opportunity lies that on the SME sector, that if we can have an SME cluster probably for the shipbuilding units and all that here. And I think something very similar that I think Goa has also done, that they've come up with a maritime or a shipbuilding cluster. And I think more importantly, how we've seen a change in the defense acquisition procedure or the recent changes that they made there, hopefully will also promote indigenization in terms of Make in India, Make by India, and those components. So having said that, I'll move on to our very special host, and I think probably the backing who we got to Ravindra Sana Reddy ji. If I could just bring in him here, and sir, if you could just talk on the overall objective from where Andhra Pradesh was, and how it's transformed into this opportunity areas, and now we have a very foremost and a very optimistic government in terms of who wants to do realistic development. And not development just for the sake of saying development. So if you could just highlight certain points from your side, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. Very good morning to all of you and my fellow distinguished speakers on the panel. I hope you all can hear me. Okay, great. And all the other participants in this very, very relevant and important seminar on the web. Since Aditya asked about the background, I was just thinking, Sri City was started about 12 years back, almost exactly 12 years back on 8/8/2008. I think the economics wise, leaving few things out, we are in the same position as we were at that point, because soon after our inauguration or groundbreaking by our late Chief Minister Dr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy Garu, the Lehman Brothers scam happened and the markets went down. The worldwide markets went down. And now, thanks to COVID, I think markets went down, and I think it is good that we are having these kind of seminars when things were not so great, so that to prepare the community for the better days ahead. I think why I'm saying better days ahead is thanks to COVID. I think now this China Plus thing is there is a talk about how the world is looking towards India for the not only made in India but made for the world kind of scenario. I think there are going to be a lot more opportunities coming, and again, state is also having a very, very dynamic leadership like we had in 2008, very capable and a very young and dynamic chief minister, and our ministers are also very young and dynamic, and both come from the business community, and we have very good officers at the all the key positions, whether it is industry or EDB or APIC. So with all these things, I think Andhra Pradesh is certainly there to reap the benefits of all this growth that is going to come post-COVID. Why I say that is, Sri City, we have successfully done almost 187 companies in Sri City, employing about 50,000 people before COVID. I think even now I'm happy to share with you, we are back to what we were in March in terms of power consumption and all. Maybe employee count has come little down, but otherwise we are back to the power consumption and all is back to what we were in March. So it is all good timings, good timing for the industry in general. And AP has come up with one of the best industrial policy. And even yesterday they have fine-tuned a little bit of some of the incentives for certain segments of the society. So I think we are in the right place at the right time. And the speakers already touched upon the need for the infrastructure. Infrastructure is one of the key subjects that we can always keep talking about it. And Andhra Pradesh government is also, both along with the government of India, coming up with a lot of initiatives, especially in the connectivity, whether it is port connectivity or airport connectivity, and the road connectivity, and the ecosystem. I think what I'm trying to tell is, I think Andhra Pradesh is trying to do the best to create the ecosystem. And as you all know, as you said, Aditya, we are number one in ease of doing business. I think it is we have a challenge to keep maintaining that number one status. I think for 3 years we are there in that position, and I think it is always a tough thing to maintain that top position when there are so many other states who are going to compete. I think we are in the right place at the right time, and I'm sure that I will address any questions that may come in the from the panel at a later stage. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, Reddy ji. Yes, you are absolutely bang on, right, saying that we are number one. And on just like a lighter note, I was given 12 years in my school to come number one in any subject. I couldn't make anything in number one in my school, and I think just coming number one in just 1 year, I think is a fabulous achievement. I think a testament to the government's commitment of doing realistic development, and I think also keeping an eye out wherein investors are being facilitated. So having said that, let me go to my foreign investor who have a very great presence, and I think very important presence in the state of Andhra Pradesh, Brandix. I mean, what a story it is. Brandix, look, just look at in terms of women empowerment. I think it's a story to tell the world about, and I think a greatly proud story for us living in this, like city of Vizag, and the transformation that has happened to the village that they have done there, the economic empowerment. So without any due delay, Mr. Hasita, if you could just please come in, just talk us a bit on the opportunities that lie for the state in terms of the textile opportunity that we have, and as to how can we capitalize on it. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, Aditya, thank you very much for inviting Brandix to be part of this webinar, and also to give share some of the perspective of the textile and apparel industry in Andhra Pradesh and how we have embarked and what opportunities lies. And also, I'm very happy and to see the panelists and the distinguished panelists who are coming from some of the best companies in the whole of India, I'm sure, and as well as in the area in Vizag. So thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this distinguished panel. So just to kind of give you a quick background, when Brandix came to India in 2006, our concept was to set up a vertically integrated supply chain city. When I say vertically integrated, we want to have, our concept was we bring cotton. India has cotton, Andhra has a large portion of the cotton production of India. So obviously using that as a raw material, how do we have a complete supply chain that make the finished product and export from a single location? Because China used to have this type of, China had even at that time this type of vertically integrated facilities, which probably in rest of the world that type of vertically integrated facilities were not available. So our concept was to build one of them in Vizag. So that's the last 14-year story. In fact, it's quite a coincidence that Sri City and ourselves have started almost the operations inside the park in the same month, August 2008. Though we came in 2006, we did the infrastructure, we worked on the approvals, and we started off the park activities from exporting from the park in Vizag from 2008 August onwards. So over the last 12 years, we have reached to about a 350 million US dollar export turnover, and also we employ about 21,500 people altogether in the park, and also about two to three times of that number in terms of the indirect employment and the indirect dependencies within the area. So I want to just touch on two important areas. One is that when we set this up, it was to be a vertically integrated supply chain park, where all different supply chain partners, fabric is made in the park, elastic is made in the park, hook and eye is made in the park, thread is made in the park. So there are different vendors who do all the different accessories and the raw materials that are needed for the sewing factory to do the sewing and complete the sewing and do the export. So that aspect of vertical integration has been one of the key strengths in the park that gives us the ability to scale up with the type of infrastructure and the type of labor pool that is available in Andhra and in the vicinity. So this is something I see as a invaluable asset for any party, because when we looked at the government support that we got, particularly during the time of Dr. Reddy's time, when things were when we were starting up, we got tremendous amount of support, because most people told us that though you're planning to set up the initial infrastructure and get started within a period of 1.5 to 2 years, you will actually have maybe more than double that time it will take for you to do it, because there were a lot of dependencies. But we were surprised, and we were very happy to see how the Andhra Pradesh government at the time supported us in a significant way to build the infrastructure in terms of bringing water to the raw water to the doorstep. API Transco gave the power substation in our park itself, substation being created, road network widened and expanded. So these infrastructure were built in an extremely timely manner, which we were very, very impressed. So I must congratulate the AP government for the fantastic work done, and thank them wholeheartedly for the support that was given to us at the time. And not only that, right through continuing that support even as of today. Honorable Minister is not there yet, but I think he visited us within just 1 month of his appointment to the park, saw everything to himself, and had been giving us all the necessary support needed to increase the employment in the area and take this employment number, in fact, to almost double in the next 3 to 5 years. Unfortunately, the current COVID situation has pushed the timelines a little bit. As you all know, the global apparel industry has taken a little bit of a slowdown, but I'm sure and confident that we will bounce back strongly and start getting back to those targets, maybe with a little bit of a lag effect, but definitely the same trends will start gradually building up. First point I wanted to highlight was the change in this supply chain concept where the vertical integration is available and to set up there. The second thing that I wanted to highlight was related to the again infrastructure, where we have the port in Vizag, right? It's a very important piece of infrastructure, because when we are looking at exporting out of the location, we at the moment we use a mix of the ports in Vizag as well as Chennai, but I think going forward we want to be more and more concentrated on ports of Vizag, because that's where the real speed that this industry is looking for will come in. And while we make the product within a short period of time, because we have the entire supply chain in one location, the second thing is taking it out of the park to the ship and then shipping it out, which is also part of the infrastructure that is available and working well. So I think combining this infrastructure availability, the large scale labor pool that is available, the raw material of cotton that is available in the Andhra Pradesh as well as in the rest of India, is really the resource pool that come together and bring together the whole concept of giving a speed solution to the customer who's looking in the fashion industry today for a significant speed solution. So that's one angle. The second angle I want to touch on the Indian domestic market, and a lot of brands now, international brands are coming into India and looking at sourcing from India as a very important aspect. So in that context, I think there is a lot of opportunity that comes in that front to work from Visakhapatnam, not only our park in the Andhra Pradesh area, and look at how Andhra can be one of the key supporters in terms of the supply chain for apparel and textile to the Indian domestic market as well, because it's a growing market, we all know that, and a lot of brands are interested in expanding that market even further and their presence. So my take is that that's another area that as an industry that we should look at in Andhra Pradesh to look at catering to the Indian domestic market in a much larger scale, bringing in technology, new development, design capabilities of products, and bringing the Victoria's Secret product capability or Calvin Klein product capability to the Indian domestic market with those brands coming in. And the best example is Uniqlo. My colleague in the panel today from Torre will talk, I'm sure, elaborate a bit more about Uniqlo, but definitely Uniqlo has been an integral part of this strategy for the domestic market from branding's perspective, because Uniqlo has already started stores in India, and there is a wider strategy to grow within India fast. So I think we are working very closely with Uniqlo to see how we can support their requirements and take it to the next level. So I think those are the two angles I wanted to touch. To summarize, firstly, the type of infrastructure and the labor pool that is available, and support that the AP government has offered. When you combine all that, there is a great value proposition that is available for the industry, apparel industry, to come together and look at combining the logistic solutions with the Vizag port and look at how we can ship out to our export customers very fast in a speedy solution. So give a speed solution, which is something that the today's fashion industry demands quite aggressively. Secondly, the Indian domestic market is an opportunity. As AP, as Vizag, I think there is a great opportunity to take a larger share of that component and create more employment, more jobs within the state of Andhra Pradesh and the city of Vizag as well, and bring in a significant portion of that business to be manufactured in India, in Andhra Pradesh for the Indian domestic market. So both angles are important. I think when we started in 2008, we were 100% focused towards export side of things. But I think now we are also looking at how we should look at supporting the Indian domestic market, not just supplying to the existing brands only, but also to bring new brands, global renowned brands to come to India, and with that to extend the supply chain to partner in from where we are today. So that's the first remarks I wanted to place, Aditya. I hope it was helpful, and maybe if there are any follow-up questions, we can take it subsequently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pita. Yes, I totally agree with some of your points there. In fact, you'll be happy to know that in the new industrial policy, textile is one of the trust sectors. So it's a sector that the government is looking at, and I think, I mean, the policy is slated for the next 3 years. So I'm sure that they would have something, around that policy structure. So I'm sure we'll have a great partner like you, who already have a huge presence in Andhra Pradesh. Now let me move on to our next
if I may add one point there, I think the government, new government's policies have been very helpful, and also I must thank the Chief Minister and Industries Minister for all the support that has been extended so far, and particularly because being a women, significant women employer, this industry has the capability to actually support some of those policies of the government in a much more more coordinated manner, and for which there have been a lot of dialogue and support that has come in. So I want to just thank the government, Andhra Pradesh government, once more for all the support that has been extended.
Thanks so much, Mr. Sita. So now we'll move on to our next important foreign investor, Mr. Yamaguchi Masahiro, who, as I stated earlier on, is is part of a $19 billion conglomerate, out of Japan, one of the leading companies in that. So, Mr. Masahiro, if you could just speak a bit on some of your manufacturing capabilities that you are currently doing at SSD, and as to how do you see this sector evolve in the next few years?
Okay, so it is a great pleasure for me to have this valuable opportunity, and I'd like to thank the organizer of this, and also thank to Mr. Krishna Kotak introducing one of the advertisement water bottles. And also Mr. Hashita Bandix introducing a Uniqlo, who is the most important partner with Toray in fiber business. And let me share some slide for your better understanding. Now visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Thank you. So firstly, I'd like to introduce about the Toray company. Maybe Toray is not known company in India. So today, Toray was established in 1926 as a rayon producer. This is one of the oldest picture of our plant just after establishment. And today, Toray operates in 29 countries through 282 subsidiaries, employing 48,000 global employees whose effort generate sales of $21 billion US. Toray's foundation business are fiber and textile. Later, we added resin and films. New product line include carbon fiber composite, IT-related materials, and other advanced raw materials. As a basic material manufacturer, Toray Group utilizes various kinds of functional and advanced materials to address social issues such as global environment, resources, and energy. So I would like to share the great moment when we did our inauguration ceremony with Honorable Minister of Industries, Commerce, IT and Skill Development, Mr. Goutham Reddy, along with our Japanese Consul General, Mr. Uchiyama, and the Srishti MD, Mr. Ravindra Sanreddy, and Tore top management. During the inaugural address, Honorable Minister emphasized that GOAP is striving with strategic action for skill development and employability enhancement in the state. I can assure this will definitely boost the industrial productivity and promotion in Srishti. We are currently 2 production lines in operational. One is a resin compounding line for automotive and home appliance, and the other is PP span bond line for hygienic textile product. As we have around 65% of open space, we are actively invest at this key plant continuously. The slide I will explain hereafter are also including business unit that may be introduced to the Srishti plant in the future. Recently, Tore formulated the Tore Group Sustainability Vision, which integrates Tore Group initiatives and the quantitative target for fiscal year 2030. We make it a mission to deliver innovative technologies and advanced materials that provide a real solution to the challenges the world faces with balancing development and sustainability. We will do our utmost to address global issues, including the goal of the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, while working closely with our business partner worldwide. As a Tore Group, we are focusing our effort on the 4 priorities shown below. Let me explain each vision and our contribution one by one in next slide. So first, Tore is accelerating measures to counter climate change, like lightweight and strong carbon fiber, and materials for renewable power energy technologies, including wind and solar energy, and in hydrogen conversion storage and fuel cells. And second, Tore is realizing a sustainable recycled-based use of resources and the production, like manufacturing non-edible plant-based fiber, and developing materials and fuel using biotechnology and membrane separation technologies. And third is Tore is providing clean water and air, like water treatment technology for desalination, purification, and the reuse of water to address water scarcity and reduce environmental impacts. Also, Tore supplies proprietary ultrafine fiber non-woven fabrics that remove particulate from the air, delivering clear air around the world. Finally, Tore is contributing to better medical care and hygiene for people worldwide, like advanced material products such as protective clothing and DNA microarrays for early diagnosis of disease and innovative drugs that support people's health. So next, also I'd like to introduce human resource development of TORE. The idea of people-centric management is a management policy that TORE has practiced since the company's founding in 1926. And it has been passed down through the history of the company. Also, Mr. Karashima, ex-chairman of board, mentioned that the people present an asset that cannot be posted on the balance sheet. I believe the other Japanese companies in Srishti also have similar thoughts of human resource development. One of the evidence is Srishti gym scheme introduced in 2019. SJCG think that gym is one of the important role to develop young resources mainly from rural area, and we expect these people become key person in each company in future. These photos of gym opening ceremony in 2019. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, it has been postponed this year. However, it shall restart from next year onward. Also, since 2017, SJCG has been donating learning supplies and study desks to neighboring schools as part of its CSR activity. And this year, SJCG decided to donate COVID-19 preventive supplies to village near Srishti industrial site, considering this pandemic situation. SJCG will continue to maintain and further develop good relations with the local community through CSR activities. SJCG consists of these companies located at Srishti and other supportive and collaborative companies from Chennai. So lastly, we always have good collaboration with GOAP Industries Department and Srishti and neighbor companies. One of the examples is TORE as a key member promote solidarity among Srishti units on 4th March this year for Safety Day Walkathon, and achieved Limca India Book of Record with 55 industries and 5,867 participants. So I hope that we can have double record near future. And lastly, I'd like to say, so as I mentioned in my presentation, human resource development is really key to accelerate in Andhra Pradesh and Srishti development also. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yamaguchi. Yes, like we get to hear basically saying that I think Sri City is known as a mini Japan. I think considering the number of Japanese companies that are, that actually call Sri City their, working and production and manufacturing home. So yes, and we look forward to having more participation. I think from Japanese companies. I think the minister was, I think our, Goutham Reddy Garu was talking some time ago about having a Japanese dedicated cell, wherein companies will be assisted in terms of I think more paramountly in terms of any assistance in terms of investments, and I think just the hand-holding support. So we look forward to that. I can see our minister, sir, I think on stage now. Sir, if you could hear me, Mr. If you could hear me, if you could just unmute your speaker button. Okay, so we'll get back to that. I think I'm trying to get to see if they can hear me out or not. Okay, so let me get a quick question if I can. So there's a question for our Ravindraji. So somebody wants to know that, about, are there any plans in terms of developing and promoting water sports and infrastructure both for recreational and I think tourism projects? So if you want to take that and just, by the time I'll try to get our Minister Garu onto the stage itself.
Sure. First, I want to thank my friend from Torre he has given such a nice presentation about both Torre and Sri City and AP. Thank you, Chairman. And regarding this question, Pulkat Lake. See, Pulkat Lake is a national, protected body, and also it is a bird sanctuary. There is a bird sanctuary nearby called Nelapattu Bird Sanctuary. So a lot of these, see, it is not, though it is a large lake and it is adjoining to us and next to Sehrukota. Unfortunately, we tried to kind of work with the AP government to develop that into ecotourism in the lines of what Kerala has done. But it is governed by a lot of restrictions because of the bird sanctuary and national protected body, or one of those central body restrictions. There is a forest officer of, one forest officer who is placed there to protect the environment there. So I think a lot has to do with government regulations, and I agree with your suggestion that it will bring a very good ecosystem. But unfortunately, and also it is the lake that is joining two states. 1/3 of the lake is in Tamil Nadu, 2/3 is in Andhra side. The lake on the Tamil Nadu side is more deeper and more water is there. And every 2 years we keep seeing in the paper, and also we witness sometimes how fishermen fight for their rights between the two lakes. So it is a little complex. There is a fisherman fishing community lives out of that lake, and then there is this bird sanctuary. So how much recreation can we do without harming the nature or environment? Somebody has to study, and also there is another big issue challenge. The Wilcott Lake has two mouths, and as the rains are getting reduced, I think we keep hearing, there is a flamingo festival that happens in Sulurpeta every year. So a lot of experts come and talk. Those mouths are getting clogged, so not enough water is coming from sea into lake. So it's becoming more and more shallow. So I think to do any recreational activities, first I think we need to invest and open those mouths, and then work with the government agencies to get appropriate approvals. And we are also looking forward for that kind of activity there, so that it gives. Sri City is being built on a work, live, learn, play kind of model. So any recreation that comes nearby, it will be, as you said in your question, it is a big boon to us. But we are waiting to see, since we are so busy with developing the industrial infrastructure, and then we are now focusing, like some of the people mentioned, about skill development, making the people available for the industry. And like Bandix, we also have a industry called Foxconn, which employs almost 15,000 women employees. So we are bogged down with those issues. So this is not a priority for us at this point.
Okay, great, Sanarji. I think I would have put that question out to put that question out to Krishna Bhai Kotak ji, because he also comes from the port and the maritime sector, but I think he's lost his connection there. So I'll post that question to Hemant Khatri ji, from Hindustan Shipyard. So if you would also want to put in some few points there, Hemant Khatri ji, in terms of what opportunities that do the water sport tourism, and also from an infrastructure standpoint in terms of making some of those I think products. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Aditya, I am with you. I am heard the question, though it directly does not pertain. But yes, as a shipbuilder, I'll be too happy to construct yachts, mega yachts, and the luxury ferry crafts, which can add on hovercrafts, which actually fulfill the purpose of recreation and coastal tourism. And as I said, from Andhra coast itself has got about 8 to 10 ports, major and minor, which are good center for tourism. Coming to just purely, recreational facilities like water scooters and facilities, I think Rishikunda beach has developed quite a few in the pre-COVID era, and Rishikonda beach is rated in the first few in the country. It was recently in the news about 3 to 4 weeks ago, and once the COVID is over, I think that can really become a center of attraction for this part of the country. And we know that a lot of tourism from Odisha, Bengal, and including up to Gujarat come here, and they would love to enjoy these facilities.
Yes, sir, absolutely. I think, you're right, Mekapati ji. I think in terms of the Rishikonda thing, we have seen a humongous amount of players who've come in and, who have primarily invested a lot in terms of, so we have something called, I think, we have a type of a leisure tourism, if I could use that term, wherein we have certain people who take us inside the thing and then they bring us back from there. So yes, I think a lot of opportunity lies in that space too, keeping in mind the entire coastline that we have, to ourselves. But just for my own knowledge, building a yacht, isn't that much more easier, or probably, I mean, do we have the expertise, first of all, in India? And I don't mean Hindustan Shipyard. I'm saying is, would we have opportunities in building stuff like that, wherein we have opportunities not only from the Hindustan Shipyard, maybe from a Mazagon Dock, maybe from the garden research and all that. So
Okay.
our preparedness.
Yeah, I'll just respond to that question. I think there is a huge potential lies in this sector. I was in European shipyard, Fincantieri shipyards for 3 years. I was deputed by Indian Navy for construction, overseeing construction of 2 of our carriers. The tankers, INS Deepak and INS Shakti. And Fincantieri is the world leader in making the cruise liners. And I have visited almost 5 of their shipyards. I was myself making this tanker in one of the leading shipyard of Fincantieri, making cruise liners which could carry more than 2,400 passengers. In the same shipyard, some mega yachts were getting built for Morocco as well as for some Russian owners. So I agree with you that some part of the design we can actually import, and we can definitely construct it. What differs in a mega yacht is, the money doesn't matter. You have to really pour in money to bring it a 5-star luxury look. It is just like a difference between a 2-star hotel and a 5-star hotel. So that is what we need to pump in, and definitely there is no great technology which is required. Design sophistication, the material used will be different, which can all be which is indigenously available. That's not a problem. And the interiors, the aesthetic parts is actually of a very high quality, and I'm sure that it has a potential. I'm quite confident that people will like to enjoy these ferries on the east coast, as I said, from Chilka to Kakinada and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Mekapati ji. And now I can see our Minister Saab here. At last, he's just got out of a call again from an electronics call, I understand. Thank you so much, Minister ji, for joining us in here, taking our time. So I'll just quickly introduce our panelists to you, Mr. Saab, so that you have an idea of who've been here. So we've had the Managing Director of Sri City, Mr. Destination Reddy ji, who's been a very, very important part in bringing this webinar together. We have the Chairman of the JM Bakshi Group, Krishnabhai Kotak, who's one of the doyens of the shipping in the port industry, and I think their company probably goes back 100 years, in that sector. We have the Chairman and Managing Director, who you just heard speaking, Mr. Commodore Mekapati ji. We have from Brandix, Mr. Hasita Premarantne, who's joining us live from Colombo, and we have one of our very important Japanese, companies who have a place and who have investment in the CCT space again, Mr. Yamaguchi Masahiro. So, sir, again, congratulations on the #1 ranking within just a 1 year span of time. I think that speaks volumes, and I think testimony to also the commitment in terms of that your government has in terms of getting in realistic development. So I'll give the floor out to you, sir. We are all looking forward to your special message and some key takeaways from there, sir.
Thank you for I'm sorry, Ram, for this delay. As I was just coming out of one of the EMC's video conferencing, and let me first of all welcome all the panelists here, and I'm very happy to be speaking out to such esteemed panel. I would like to start as one simple motive behind this discussion is that there's a big differentiator that's coming between in Andhra Pradesh that's going to happen in the coming days. The biggest differentiator that I see is that we inculcating the total quality management into the children's mind right from onset of, let's say, from a toddler right down to the skilling. So I believe that in the coming days, quality is not something that you should be taught. It should be something that should be ingrained. It should be inculcated. It should be embedded into people at a very young age. So when it is naturally that happens in a society or culturally or let us say educationally, your end products, be it as a citizen or as that for that matter, or as a worker, or for that matter as a manager, or even for that matter as a government, a bureaucrat, the net results are far greater that way we believe. So that is the reason, biggest differentiator we are believing in, that we need to change the way of doing businesses in coming days and how India should be looked upon in the coming days. So our Chief Minister has taken up this big initiative of trying to reform the schooling system, education system. Right from the onset of, I'm talking about from your kindergartens through to your primary, secondary, then your degree, and then also ending it up with skilling. So this is a whole chain of processes that we have drawn up, and which will actually means, and I know this is something which we like to take it. In fact, we have somebody joining us from the Tory Industries, and I'm very happy that I was part of the inauguration. And also I had the great opportunity to keep meeting with Mr. Ravi Sanaredi. And this is something which we should also learn from Sri City. The way that they have gone about in developing this premises. So to me, what we look at is Andhra Pradesh is that it is not just one Sri City. We would like to create multiple examples of Sri City like this in the coming days. And we want to back this up by way of ease of doing businesses. That is already, we know that we've been ranked one. Now we're also looking at just not at ease of doing business. We're also telling that the cost of doing business in India or internationally, we benchmark ourselves across the world and say that your delivery, our governance delivery will make you sure that you will have a cheapest product coming out of, or the least cost of product coming out. And apart from this, we would also put it out to you that what is it that we're looking for? People ask me, why should we invest in Andhra Pradesh? Why can't we invest, what is that big difference over there? I can only tell you that we are building Andhra Pradesh for future of what this world requires. So to me, I do not want to dabble in the past. I would rather we are looking towards the future. So that can be again looked at the way we're taking up the initiation of skill development. Now we're going to be talking about initiating 30 skill colleges, and we're talking to very esteemed corporations and organizations, with each one being one center of excellence. So you could actually see a whole gamut of, with the ITI, Polytechnic, and the skillings which is happening, which is going to completely take care of the skilling. And we are building skilling not to our national standards. We are saying we want to stand tall, shoulder to shoulder, to any international workman, or for that matter, it could be a German worker or a Japanese a person, or for that matter, even a Singapore. We would like to stand shoulder to shoulder. I was just hearing Mr. Commodore Mekapati talking about this the yachts. I mean, about this. I just have one remark to play. We have, in terms of design facilities, we have fantastic design facilities at the Hindustan shipyard. The only thing what we would say is, as he was actually pointing out to you, it's the level of finishing that happens in a yacht, in a private yacht. The same, it's how they say construction is nothing but line and levels. So your seamlessness in the construction in that yacht has to be so much, because it's a billionaire that you're selling the yacht to. It's not to any other person. So he's looking at very high quality of workmanship. He's looking at the ease of workmanship, and he's also seeing that what is the innovative process that went into this. So these are people who have grown big by using their mind and becoming a billionaires. And so imagine how much quality process you have to go through before even you sell the yacht to them. So that is a level of, so we need to bring up our level of skillmanship, our workmanship, and that can only happen, as I said, we inculcate this TQM into our society, into our culture at a young age. And the other great part about this also is this, the reforms that we're doing in schooling. At the same time, we're also doing a lot of reforms for the women empowerment. No society or culture can progress without, at least I'm not talking about, at least in today's world, without women's empowerment. If you cannot have an equal opportunities, because I've seen this, in fact, I was really flabbergasted. I've gone across to so many of my, across the state I've visited, and I can tell you very proudly, there are women, I mean, at every skilling, or let us say for that matter, any ITI or polytechnic colleges, there are equal number of women as much as men. And they're equal, and they're as ready to take up any challenges as any men. And that women empowerment is the one which is going to really bring us as a forefront of our development in the world. So that is something which we are also focusing on. And if you also understand, I was just discussing some time back, there is, the tendency for a lot of governments to attract investors. They attract investors throwing out whole gamut of services, and it is just for that period of that 15, 10 or 20 or 1 month days when we are courting them or honeymooning with them. But once that agreement is signed and sealed, they are forgotten. Their incentives are forgotten. Their ease of doing businesses are forgotten. And this is, I'm just not talking about any state, but I'm just saying across India, this is what happens. So, but we said that, our chief minister said that, it's just not those 15 days. We are talking about the entire life cycle of the industry. You should be holding hands with them. So that is the reason now we are bringing out a very active redressal system for grievances, and also for any other challenges that the entrepreneurs are facing in our state. The other point which I would like to also bring out to you is that today, Andhra Pradesh and the residual Andhra Pradesh, if you really look at it, the whole sort of industrialization that happened when it was United Andhra went to Telangana or to the Ranga. There were two districts which got attracted itself a lot of investments, because initially it was Andhra entrepreneurs who had migrated to Telangana, who developed the ecosystem over there, and subsequently, you had a follow-on processes taking place. The entire industrialization that you talk about was in Rangareddy. We brought all our institutions, whether from BHEL, HALs, whatever it is. We went and we invested in that in and around Rangareddy and Hyderabad and other areas. But if you really see in the residual Andhra Pradesh, our industrialization is very low. Even today, if you look at it, we're about 82% is our agriculture. That's what it is. So there is a huge demand, or there's a huge demand for the supply, to grow as an Andhra Pradesh as our next industrial state in this country. And this is given because of its natural advantages of a long coastline, deep water ports. You all understand that, between the western side and the eastern side, our draft is much better here. We have a easier access to the markets, international markets, be it the China or be it for the other matter, the South Asia and other parts. So coming together, that the challenge, the natural advantages that we enjoy as a state, I think we win over there as a competitive, strategic competitive level. But then we also need to focus it by bringing in, basically, as I said, these reforms that we are bringing out today is going to back this advantages also. We're also, if you look at it, we've also said we're going to bring in discipline in terms of incentives also. We are not going to be simply giving out incentives just like that. But once we're committed to our incentives, we are going to be 100% adhering to this payment of these incentives. I can say proudly that we were the first state or the only state to have cleared our entire MSME outstanding as of 2020 May. Almost 1,100 crores during the COVID time was actually paid to the MSME sector. Along with that, we gave them a 3 months grant in terms of, we actually dropped our electricity charges when, in spite of, and also we brought in also capital, access to free, low cost capital. So this is one of the things that, 3 things that our Honorable Chief Minister thought out and reached out to MSME sector. And also with that, we're also looking at development of our coastline. There's a huge opportunities. As I said, a new city needs to be built up, new regions needs to be developed. And we are looking at all this as a factors backed by good human resources, and it's going to be the ideal destination for the coming days. So I would like to thank, especially the Vizag Industrial Scan, who has been kind enough to include me in this discussion. And if there's anything anybody wants to ask me, please, I'm open to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Some I think very pertinent points. I think some of these points that I think you have reiterated, I think earlier too, and I think some of key takeaways. I totally agree in terms of. I think everybody on the panelists would also agree in terms of the quality manner. I think if India wants to become a Make in India hub, I think it's no rocket science to understand that our quality has to be good enough. And even if you look at Make in Andhra Pradesh, I think that will probably something be thing. So now the floor is open up. I would request any of the panelists or the participants if they have anything that they would like to bring up in terms of sector. You can just hit the questions tab on your right hand side and just write the question. So I'll just before they come up with a question, I know one sector which you are very keen on, and you've spoken about it very passionately, has been the electronics vehicle and I think the EV policy. And I remember writing on this and you stating this, that Andhra Pradesh will not miss the EV bus. And I remember that. So I know the policy is still not out. If you could just give a precursor, being a journalist, we always look for breaking news and all that. So,
the idea is, we, as I said, we're a young state which can adapt to newer technologies and newer regimes much quicker than any other state. Ideal example I would give you is the mobile revolution that happened in India. Until late 90s, or you can say early 2000s, getting a telephone connection in India was next to impossible. I mean, our density of penetration of telephones was so low that you have to practically line up with an MP because he gets access to about 18 free lines, so we have to go and talk to them. But look at from that point and today where we are. Today we are dictating terms to the world mobile economies. We're talking about creating, the new mobiles that are coming out, the technologies that are coming out, or the markets that we've got today that we are that this country is giving out to this, is that we are dictating new guidelines to this industry itself. So if you can really see, that is an apt example for the state of Andhra Pradesh, because we are such a young state. As I said, our penetration of industrialization is not as high. So it becomes easy for me to adapt to new technologies and get onto the new platforms much quicker than any other. So we are more nimble-footed over there. So that is the reason why we think is that electronics is the future. I mean, electronic vehicles is the future for that. Non-polluting electronic vehicles are the future of this planet. And today I'm not addressing this just for the state. It's what the world environment is requiring today. Your carbon credits have to come down. If you see, recently I was watching one of the documentaries and it is so appalling that that we are actually driving ourselves to extinction in another 30-40 years. If we don't change the methodology of how we conduct ourselves, we would be in a very pathetic condition, when we stand in front of our future generation and say that this is the generation which destroyed the earth. So but this is also the same. I would like to quote what Richard Attenborough had said in his documentary. But this is also an opportunity that we see that you can change the reverse this. So we do not accept it right now as a responsible citizen of the earth. I think we'll be losing out a big opportunity there. So that is the reason why we're saying is that our Chief Minister is very particular about pollution. So we want to come out with the new next, the next be the Detroit of the next, or for that matter, the new. The motor destination, electronic vehicles destination for the country. So with that, we've actually talking to various industry leaders. Not only we're talking to the DISCOMs, we're also talking to one is the biggest impediment to the growth is that your distribution sector. So we're trying to get in touch. We're trying to partner with our DISCOMs and see that we create banking and storage facilities along with this, along with our charging stations. So this is something of a more roadmap that we're creating right now across the state, and very soon we'll roll out the EV policy.
So that's really great to hear, sir. Thank you so much for taking that up, sir. We have a couple of questions, and then after that we'll go into the closing remarks. If you could just say a few words to investors. Before I get there, there are two questions, pertinent questions about the IT scenario, and I know this is such a redundant question that I'm sure you get it at least 100 times a day, but more particularly also about startups. We have an APIS which has unfortunately not been functional, or I think it's being revamped. But and I know the IT policy is still yet to come up. So anything that you would like to tell us in terms of that startups in particular? Is there anything specific coming up on that, or the incubation, innovation, or something if you would like to share? So I think we just lost the connection of sir there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now we can hear you. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. See, I'll tell you. As I was telling you, it doesn't. It's a no-brainer at all. It actually, I cannot today can't compete in the real estate space of IT with that likes of Hyderabad, Bangalore, or let's say in Noida, or for that matter, Mumbai or something, or Chennai for us. We need to refocus ourselves. I don't want to be competing in the same spectrum as what they are competing in, because they already have an advantage over there. So what are we doing? See, let me understand. See, we are redefining our IT in a different format. In fact, what should IT as a department be doing? We are like any other company that you have. We're the IT provider to the state government. So for us, our responsibility is trying to digitalize our governance in the coming days. So what happens with that? So when I create digitalization, when I create more markets, I also create markets for startups, because there is a lot of problem seekings within the government itself, which creates necessity for solutions. So this can be met by, let us say, creating a startup environment only for addressing first and foremost our, the government of AP. So keeping that in mind, we brought out a convergence bill where we said that all the IT across the departments in all the wherever cylindrical they're sitting will come under one common spectrum of IT department. The idea is simple, is that today when I have market, the businesses follow automatically. Rather than I going and trying to compete over there in that market, see, I'll give a very good, interesting example here is that let's see the life cycle of what happened in the internet. Internet was a discovery of not by any private institution. It was a necessity by the US Defense Forces. The internet, what happened, what revolutionized today, the web, see what we're talking about today, was actually a method of, a medium of communication between various army internal units. This as a network for private institutions to come and start doing research for them. So inherently, it was an army which was the government of, let's say, United States, which was the biggest employer and the market for such businesses. So similarly, in that way, what I would like to do, what we would like to do here is this: first, we
I think so. We're just having few connection issues with Mr. Garu's connectivity. So we just try to get that sorted out. Let me just post that question again. So let me just go to Ravindra Sannareddy ji. Sir, let me bring you in here in terms of you have a lot of companies there, Sannareddy ji, and VIS has a very unique initiative, if I will. It's called an Industry Startup Connect program, which we started a couple of years ago, and we try to connect local startups to industries that are currently here, right? Would you want to throw some light in terms of any startup policy that that you're encouraging at 3City, or any startup small like a startup incubation or something like that?
Yeah. We have a incubation and innovation center that is already in place for last 5 years. Especially, we wanted to encourage the local community to become entrepreneurs, because when we started this 3City, we promised them so not only we give jobs, and if anybody wants to become entrepreneurs, we wanted to encourage that initiative. We have already put in place a incubation and innovation center. So whenever some potential, I mean, of course, we also work with Stand Up India, Startup India, these national programs also. So whenever somebody is interested in those things, we link them up with the relevant industry within 3City or nearby. It's more of a, and also we have 2 academic institutions within 3City.
Because I can see.
So we do have 2 academic universities here. One is Triple IT and the other one is Kriya University. We just had the first ever incubation, or let us say venture capital fund that is started in a public institution in Triple IT. About 2 weeks back, Honorable Minister for the Ministry of HRD has inaugurated that about 2 weeks back. It is called Finance Circle Ventures. Basically, it is intended to support the students who want to become entrepreneurs, students who are attending Triple IT. So there is a good ecosystem we are building with academic institutions and the industry and the local community, and wherever possible, we are involving government also. Like, for example, skill development, we work with AP Skill Development Corporation, AP SSDC, and also AP Skill Initiative. So we work with government agencies wherever they identify the right people to come in. Similarly, for this entrepreneurship also, we look towards government departments to identify them, and once they guide them, send them to us, we take them to other industries.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, great, Sanjay. Thanks so much. So I did speak to Sandeep, who is the the minister's counterpart, and I think he's having a lot of issues in terms of the connectivity and all that. So we'll and we're right in time, in terms of a closing session, 2 minutes to go. But again, I would just like to take this opportunity and thank everybody again, Minister Sir, again for joining us, and giving us time during his busy schedule. My special sincere thanks to all the panelists, 3City ji, Sanreddy ji, Krishna Bhai Putek ji, Commodore Hemant Khatri ji for joining in again, sir. Thank you so much, and giving us a lot of inputs in terms of the shipbuilding and ship repair facilities. Mr. Yamaguchi Masahiro for giving us that very detailed presentation and actually showcasing that what not only that the company is doing, but what are the possibilities there. And last but not the least, but Mr. Hasita Premanantane for joining us live from Colombo and sharing some of your thoughts. Again, thank you again, everybody, and look forward to hearing you again in similar sessions. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, and look forward to meeting you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
I invite all the speakers and other participants, whoever has time, to visit 3City whenever it is possible when you come this side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aditya Bhai. Thank you so much.